CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
Welcome. How is everyone? Greetings on this Wednesday, August 19th, the day before my mother's birthday. If she was still here on earth, she would be 75 tomorrow. So I'm going to dedicate this podcast to her with all my love in my heart. I'm LaNoana. I'm excited to be here. Walking with LaNoana is a podcast that focuses on health and wellness, elevating and bringing forward the issues of our community and offering solutions that will allow us to heal. I want to give thanks to CMP Radio for creating, opening, and having this platform available for our community. And I'm going to encourage anyone that's listening that has anything on their heart that they think will help our community to grow, and you have solutions, that you reach out to CMP Radio and start your own podcast. It is an awesome opportunity and much needed in our community. So today's conversation, which is episode 2, but technically my first topic for my podcast series, is called When Parents Use Children as Weapons. Let me repeat that. When parents use children as weapons. And I already know somebody is saying, how does that happen? What's she talking about? Where's she going with this? Our children are used in betwixt adult conflict, and it has to stop. It's ruining our community. It's ruining our children. We absolutely have to embrace and approach everything with love. So as we discuss what happens to children that are pulled into that conflict with their parents, I'm going to put a strong focus on fatherless children because I was raised a fatherless child. And I like to interject my experiences and what I have lived and everything that I impart to the community. And I add in some things that I've witnessed also, but I have found that sharing from my own experience makes it authentic communication that's relevant to me, mind, body, and heart. And we're not going to blame every mother here today. I'm not going to excuse any fathers, but I am going to encourage accountability on levels that you may not have thought about previously. So I want to start out a little bit with a personal story about myself and my life, because I'm a storyteller. I was raised as a fatherless child. I had lots of men in my life that fathered me. I had great fathering. I had neighbors, and I'm not talking about my next door neighbor. When I was raised, the community, so I'm talking about the men on the west side that knew me or anyone in my family had impact on my life. And then I had relatives, uncles, cousins that were men that offered me great fathering because I didn't have a father. And then there were the men that nurtured me with the same love that they cared for my mother because they were hoping to be my father. And I'm going to just give a shout out right there to the one man that's been consistent in my life since I've been 5, Henry Elam Jr. Bird. That's the only father that I had in my life. But my mother wasn't married. He went home every night. He wasn't my biological father, so he did not interject things that had to do with fathering in the way that a biological father would. As a matter of fact, just sharing a story that just came to my mind. When I was pregnant, he took me to school every day, but he couldn't even tell my mother that he knew I was pregnant because he saw my breasts getting bigger, because not being my biological father, that would not have gone over very well. A little bit about me. So being a fatherless child, for me, you grow up with daddy issues. And since I grew up a little fast, my daddy issues came very early. And what did that look like? Me searching for the love of a father that a daughter gets when she is being held as a baby, when she is being rocked at night, when she's being tucked in, a story, a hand being held, a kiss, a hug. When you don't have that, when you don't have your father in your house, me personally, I went looking for that in all the wrong places. And it led to teen pregnancy, multiple marriages, and just bad choices in relationships. But the fast forward is, once you learn how to heal, and then you understand why you did those things that you did, and why you ended up in those positions that you were in, you never, ever return there again. So I have witnessed mothers tell their children to ignore their fathers, to not speak to their fathers. I have witnessed grandmothers that don't like baby daddies encourage their grandchildren to be disrespectful to their fathers and the father's family, not considering that this is that child's other half. It's like a 50-50. Maternal families have this disbelief that that's the only family that a child needs. Not true at all. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And I've actually witnessed families at a joyful celebration for children and be divided in the room, spewing words that are hurtful right across the child, rolling eyes. The child's going to a celebration. They have all the tension in the house before they show up because they've been given instructions on how to behave and who to talk to and who not to talk to. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. A child should never have to carry the anger or the chaos that adults have because they are too immature to coexist in a world around a child that needs love and support and understanding. We got to stop doing that, laying the groundwork of how our children are used as weapons between their parents and their families. So I had a guest scheduled tonight, which if any of you had seen my announcement of the podcast, Mr. Tyrone Ricks was scheduled to be here this evening. But unfortunately, he's not here, but the podcast must go on. So I have here in the studio with me my cousin P, Uncle P, Pierre, whatever you know him as. And then I have the man that makes sure everything in my life is okay, Scoop Jizzle here. And both of these men have children, and they are fathers that have been in their children's lives. And they've had to deal with women and some of the maternal issues. And I'm just thankful and grateful that they were here to have my back, so I didn't have to talk all alone. So they are here, and you will hear their voices get interject. Y'all can say hello.
Hello, good people. How you feeling?
All right. So what I want to do in this conversation is I'm going to pose some questions, and if y'all have something that you want to say in that question, you can interject that, and I'm prepared to answer some of those questions. But what I want to do is give the community a flavor of what this weaponizing our children looks like in case people don't get it. I'm pretty sure you will see yourself somewhere if you are guilty. Not everybody's guilty by the time we finish this conversation. So I am going to put y'all on the spot on this one. Cousin P,
Yes.
what does it mean to you when a parent uses a child as a weapon against the child's father?
Listen, so I have 5 women I share children with. A lot of the things that you're talking about is in every situation, right? No one has ever used my child as a weapon against me because they know how much my children love me, right? They know how much I love my children. So it becomes your child will automatically see your behavior, right? And
right.
I'm not with fighting. I'm not with the arguing. We're here. We're supposed to be a team.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I've seen it through other people's eyes, like my cousin, his baby mom used to argue, yell, and fuss and scream and holler, whenever he had his daughter, whenever he was taking his daughter anywhere, right? Oh, you can't take her over there, or she can't be over there. Why she over your mom's house and things like that. So I've never experienced that.
Okay.
Right? But there are little things, like when we talk about the parents of the child, of her, right? Her parents not liking me or feeling some type way. And it's like, we can have a conversation, right? I don't run from conversation.
Right.
You need to know how I feel. I have no plans on abusing your daughter. I'm not trying to get your daughter strung out on any drugs. I'm not trying to have her out here doing anything crazy. We have a child together now, so we need to know what we need to do as partners, because that's what you signed up for. I say sometimes having a child with somebody is just like marriage. Yep. We're connected
forever. Yes.
And our lineage, in the moments that we shared, will go on to create more. You know what I mean? So it's just not about the child. It's about that child's child. You know what I mean? So if we're doing our job as parents, we're talking, we're discussing, even if we have an argument. Because listen, the ebbs and flows of parenting are, if things are good, they're real good, and if things are bad, they're terrible.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let's have a conversation.
Right.
Let's talk. So I'm all for the conversations. I'm all for the talking. I don't have a problem with that. But I do know, and I have seen, and it doesn't really apply like the man using the child as a weapon. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
I haven't really seen a lot of that, even though I know it does happen.
Yes.
Right? It can happen. I haven't seen a lot of that. I know my cousin had his children. You know what I mean? Like, and where was the mom at?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
and he was trying to figure his life out while raising 2 children, and he made some mistakes and he did some things wrong, right? But man, he loved his children.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if he could come up here and have a conversation, he will say everything that he did wrong and not talk about all the things that he did right.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what happens for men, right?
Yeah.
The focus is on what we're not doing correctly.
Right.
Never about what we're doing right.
But the truth of the matter is, every child that I've seen raised by their father they fare a lot better than if they were raised by the mother in that situation. So women, don't be beating me up thinking I'm saying all moms are bad.
No, they're not.
I'm just saying the men that have raised their children, and I've seen that a lot. I didn't see that a lot growing up. Those children turned out better because most times they end up with the dad because mom wasn't doing right? And they turn out better. To get your voice in here, you have anything to add?
Get close to that mic.
All right.
Not you.
Oh, okay.
As Cousin P just mentioned, I haven't experienced that, that portion where somebody tried to keep me from seeing any of my children.
Okay.
And I have at least twice as many children as he does.
You got 16 kids? Whew.
Close to it.
Close to it.
Man.
So for me, and I might be a little biased because I know both of y'all, right? That speaks to the character of men that you are, right? Because there's some men out there that are getting beat up by some women, and it ain't just black women.
Well, I say sometimes like a hit dog hollers.
Oh yeah, I love that. I use that all the time.
I like that. So at some point, you did something to aggravate her. You feel me? Whatever that is. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to stand in front of her without the throwing up and the yelling and the fussing and the fighting and listen to her what she's saying. Mm-hmm. We have a child to raise. Right. I'm trying to do the best I can. Like I am.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with having that conversation.
Right.
And I think like today I thought about after I hung up the phone with you, I called like I'm gonna say 2 out of 5. I called 2 out of 5 and asked them, "Can I interview you?" They both like, "Sure." I said, "We're gonna talk about why you picked me as your baby father."
Oh wow, okay.
Everything that I was dealing with at that time, right? Everything that I was, because I was married. I had 3 children with my wife. Then I got mad and upset and was hurt and just ran out to the street and just started doing whatever I was doing. I had 4 children on my wife. I filed for divorce because I realized I had hurt her.
Right.
I was wrong, right? But I still had children to take care of. Never once did she ever pull me away from those children. Never once did she get an attitude and say, "No, you can't be with those children." So, like, I've seen both sides.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've seen the angry woman that's mad, that's upset, that feels some type way because I don't want to be in a relationship with her. Right. And it takes time for her to get over that. And you will. You'll get over it, right? And we can have a beautiful relationship raising our children. But that takes time. I don't know how much time. And I was talking to one of the mothers of my children, and she said, it takes time. It does.
So you made me think about when my first divorce, which was bitter, right? And even though he was like the best provider I had ever been with, when it came to the children, to me, like he fell short, right? Because you bitter because I cheated, right? But I ain't cheat till after you had a baby. You know what I'm saying? So those type of things happen, but the children should not. Like, I remember it was probably the second year after we weren't together. Like, he came in the house with gifts and got upset because it was gifts under the tree from the dude that I was seeing, and walked back out.
With the gifts?
With the gifts.
Nah, you don't do that.
All right. Children right there, like expecting, the gift. And, I don't even know if my children will remember that, but like I've told the story like several times before, that just should not happen. It shouldn't. So I admire that you can have the conversation and have the partnership, because we were to the point that it got so crazy. Like, I wasn't even letting him know where I was. He had to figure it out, and like showed up one day at my daughter's school. Because,
I'm not saying I didn't deal with that.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
2020 was when I had Jordan, right? And when I had my baby girl, you feel me, my ex-wife got mad to the point where she stopped communicating with me. And it was like, yo, we 5 kids in over on this side. Like, what's the problem? But I realized that she saw what I was doing as far as the radio station. She saw what I was doing as far as my life, and she thought I was trying to be better. You feel me? And she thought maybe I was being better to come back to her. And we didn't have a conversation correctly. You know what I mean? Because I was going back for my daughter. I was in the house. I was there. If my kids' grades were slipping, I show up. A's and B's. That's all we get. We don't get C's. You know what I mean? And if you get a C, that means you need to go to tutoring, and we need to sit down and do some studying, right? Because that's the only way you can get money for college.
You just know how to be a dad.
And the thing is, like, and people always ask me, my father died when I was 12.
Right.
So I spent most of my life after my father died as a fatherless child. I went through the hardest parts of being a teenager growing up in Chester, when at the time when growing up in Chester was getting a lot rougher than how it is now. It's rough, but it's not as rough as it was in that time frame, because things were changing. I'm saying in my family, things were changing. People were passing away. People were leaving. It was like, yo, what's going on, right? So I was frustrated. I was mad. So I ran outside to the street. You feel me? But when I met my wife, I said, no, I want to make her my wife. I'm just looking at her. You feel me? This is what I need. And I was ready for it. But things, don't always work out the way you want them to.
Because you thought you was ready.
Yeah.
So, Scoop, do you have any stories of where, like, moms did anything that made things crazy?
Not personally with me, but, there are different forms of weaponization, as you say.
Right.
Call it. Sometimes people might speak bad about the other parent in front of the children.
Right.
And if you do that enough, then the children start feeling some type of way about the other parent unjustly.
Right.
Like my mom, she used to have, if me and my brother weren't behaving the way she thought we should be behaving, she would always say, okay, keep it up. I'm going to send you up the fairgrounds with your father. Now, that was punishment.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You're going to send me up with your father. That was punishment to her, because he's this bad guy.
Oh, wow.
But, even I'm in a situation, I got 17-year-old triplets, will be 18 next week. Mm-hmm. And I'm a single dad. Mm-hmm. They live with me. And, we've been through a situation where we would just needed some help as far as housing.
Right.
And so somebody reached out. And at one point in time, we were supposed to do something as a family, and that didn't happen. So it was just me and them in that situation. And I always told them, listen, we don't have nothing bad to say about your mother, even though she didn't show up. Mm-hmm. So, I always wanted to keep that. I want you to have a relationship with your mother. Mm-hmm. And you go from there. You'll be able to see things however they are as you get older. And, soon you're 18, you're considered a young adult.
Right. Right.
Everything is real,
right.
As far as court and jail and all that stuff. It ain't
right.
juvenile situations.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be adult situations.
Mm-hmm.
So, you need to have both parents in your life, as long as nobody is abusing anybody.
Exactly. Right. We don't want no abusive situation. So that made me think about my story a little bit. So talking about not saying anything bad about the other parents. So I laid eyes on the father that was named, which I'll elaborate on that a little later, but my named father, right? I always knew his name. My mother never said anything bad about him, even though he was not around. And I never questioned, like, where he was or what was going on. And then Chester is small. I was sitting looking through some pictures, and somebody recognized my dad. And they was like, oh, I see him every day. I was like, really? I said, well, see him in Chester? And they was like, yeah. I said, well, I've never met him. Didn't even know that he was in Chester. The fast forward on that, he came around a couple weeks later and he knew about me. And talk about weaponizing children. Let me just share this. And I will share things about my mother because she's no longer on earth. But please don't none of y'all say nothing about my mama that might get back to me. She my mama, so these my stories and I can share that. But these men in my mother's life, this one guy, he's like, no, that's going to be my daughter. I'm going to take care of her. And he basically threatened who my mother named as my father. And it wasn't until we were at that man's funeral that he realized when my name wasn't in the obituary that I had not been raised as his child. He literally stayed away from the situation, thinking that this man was raising me as his daughter. Now, that man did take good care of me all of my life, and all of his children respected, and to this day, you know, they recognize me as their sister. So it'd be all kind of twist up in there. All right, let's keep moving along here. So how does being a fatherless child affect daughters and sons differently? So I'm going to start this conversation because I've already interjected. Like, for a daughter, you are lacking dad's love, and you start looking outside of yourself to fill that void. For sons, the sons that I've witnessed that didn't have a father, they don't have any identity. They don't know what it is to be a man. They don't have that example. And sometimes you see fatherless sons grow up acting like their mama, which ain't cool once you become a man. It just don't look right with those feminine behaviors and responses, but you were nurtured in that. So, you know, I get it. And then you have the anger, the sadness, the insecurity, and abandonment, right? Because I don't care how strong you are. If you know your father exists and he's not deceased, and you have a relationship with him, or conversations, or child support, or whatever connection to know that he's out there, you're going to feel like, why has he abandoned me? Especially as a child, not understanding the nuances that are playing behind the scenes. Whether it's mama keeping you from him just deciding not to engage, or whatever the case is. Y'all have any comments on that? The sons and daughters, like how it affects them not having a father.
So recently, my son told me, I don't think he really meant it, but I understood what he meant when he said it. So, you know, he said I wasn't there for him. I was too busy chasing females, or chasing vagina. First I had to say, son, I've never ever in my life chased a female. Right, I let you know that I'm interested. You let me know if you're interested. If you're not interested, you can go on about your way. Right. I have other things to do. Mm-hmm. I can hang out with you. We can hang out. I can tell you how much I like you, but after a while, I'm done. Mm-hmm. But he said I wasn't there for him. He had to learn to communicate by himself. And I said, I was there. You know, you didn't listen to me because you had your mother. Right, and that's another thing that moms do, that shield that you throw over your son. And I always used to tell her, listen, one way or the other, he's going to either learn how to be a man or somebody that's going to beat it into him. Yep. I'm not trying to see my son get anything beat into him, but I do need him to know that he needs to lower his tone when he's talking to men, right? Not get all agitated and huffy puffy and yell and fuss and scream and holler. That's not how men
high-pitched voice
communicate. Mm-hmm. We talk. Mm-hmm. And if we can't talk about it, then we fight.
Right.
And if you can't fight a woman, then you know better than to even have an argument with one.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So teaching him, showing him via me, because I was wrong, right? Because when I was coming up in the house with the mom, we was always arguing back and forth. She throwing jaggers, I'm throwing dabs, I'm doing all. So it was like, when I moved out and I said, this isn't right for my kids, I'm looking at my kids, look at me. And when I divorced, my middle daughter took it hard because I was in the house, because we was always hanging around each other. We was watching Disney Channel together. She would come lay on my lap. We would go over her homework and do different things like that. So when I moved out, that changed.
So what actually happened with her, since you gave an example of your son? What went on with your daughter?
She tried to commit suicide.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
And it reminded me of when I tried to commit suicide. So I had to go back again. You feel me? And stress to her the importance of communication. Talk to me when you feel this bad. Talk to me. Come and talk to me. That's why, you see, my daughters, we just had the conversation. You feel me? Like, I can talk to my children.
Right.
They can talk to me.
Right.
I don't care if you come to me dirty. but come to me.
Yep, that's how I am too.
Let me know what you're dealing with. Yo, Dad, listen, I'm dealing with this, da 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 da. All right, now I know. So if you come to me, I know how to handle you. Communication. Talk to your parents. Talk. I don't care if you're mad. If your mom's mad at me, why are you mad at me as well? Your mom's mad at me for something else that has nothing to do with you. I've given you everything. I've given you the best I could. There's some children out here whose dads ain't even worried about.
Oh, I know.
Don't even want to have a conversation.
Right.
Right. So I have another young man, and he turns 14 tomorrow. And this young man, I wasn't really in his life at all when he was a kid, and it wasn't because I didn't want to be. It was because I didn't believe he was my son. You know what I mean? And I don't think his mother really believed it either, but she didn't really press me. Right? I would see her, we would talk. That was it. So now I see this young man 2 years ago before my mother passed away, and I see him in the store. And he comes up to me and said, "What's up, Dad? Where your mom at?" You feel me? We developed a relationship, and I realized I was 12 when I lost my dad. I remember how that felt, being so young and not being able to reach out and talk to my dad or hear his voice. So I picked him up and I told him, I said, I'm here regardless of what the blood tests say. I'm standing in this gap.
Okay,
You
good
understand
for
what I'm
you.
saying?
Yeah.
Reach out to me, talk to me. Now he still doesn't do that, right? For whatever reason.
It's okay.
And that's cool because one day he will. And I'll be here. But like I just sent to Barbara. Barbara just texted me and said he just cut his hair. I sent him the $40. Like, I'm going to take care of you. Birthday tomorrow, I'm going to go take him, go get his phone. He going to get a new phone. He going in the 9th grade. Like, I got his book bag upstairs. It's certain things that I do that I know he need. You know what I mean? He's super protective of his mom. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't want to leave because he's not too sure what's going to happen without the responsibility. Right?
Wow.
So
that's interesting. You have any son, daughter, you not being there stories?
Maybe out of all the children that I have, maybe just one of them said that. Because I have mainly daughters. So I have 10 daughters.
Right.
You know, so I only had 3 sons that I'm aware of. You know, one of them got killed 13 years ago. And so I just had one situation where the daughter, she didn't come out and say you wasn't here, but I could tell, you know, that's how she was feeling. Right. You know, she said it in so many words, but not direct like that. And I get it, you know. I get it. You know, I was dropping off money a lot of times. You think that covers it.
No, it doesn't. It don't. And my son said that when we had another conversation. He said, I wasn't saying you weren't there. You weren't there the way I would have liked for you to be. You know what I mean? And I said, see, there you go. That's what a man does. Right. You listened to yourself and thought about it and said, nope, that's not what I meant. Right. Because I got pictures of your whole growing up over the last 7-8 years. I have pictures, bro.
He wanted that one-on-one.
You wanted me in the house like I was.
Right.
I said, but if I was in the house like I was, I wouldn't be this man that I am right now. Like, you can be in a house and it's not conducive to you maturing and growing up and helping and loving. I would have been a worse father if I would have stayed in the house. Trust me. I know where I was going. I saw what I was doing. I was like, I can't continue this. I got 10 years. Yeah. 10 years. Like, I haven't been married. But guess what? Me and my ex-wife, best friends, bro.
And that's how it should be.
You know what I'm saying? Because we had to go through something. And what happened was my mom passed away. And she was like, damn. I said, all these years my mom been trying to get you to come and talk to me. Talk to him. I'm not talking to him. Talk to him. I'm not worried about him.
Now she not here to do that. So she like, I gotta do this.
No, she was, and she came. She's like, I don't know how you're gonna accept this. I said, just sit here. Like, I'm not mad at you. Right. I know that we were both young. Right. I knew that we grew up together. I was always in your corner. You know what I'm saying? I continue to be in your corner. I continue to applaud for everything that you can do. You can cook, bro. Shut all these chefs down and sit. Because I know she got it from my grandma. I know my grandma put her hand on it, right? So she can make you a Sunday dinner that you be like, God damn. Everything bust. Turkey wings, pork. If she wanted to make pork chops, she don't make pork chops. But if that's what she wanted to do, she could do it. Everything hit. So for me, it was just the realization that my son understood and saw something different than what he wanted, and he didn't want what he saw.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So for me, fatherlessness affected obviously how I loved, but as y'all were talking, it made me realize how I affected my children. So like my son tried to commit suicide, and I actually had to send him away because I didn't know how to deal with it. My daughter had abandonment issues, right? Like this stuff comes through, and you don't think about that when you're making these decisions that actually affect them also, right? And the being a fatherless child for my family became the norm. So I have been charged by my ancestors to end those generational curses that have gone on for decades. And you're talking about dropping off money. My grandfather, he ran businesses. He was a Mason. He went to the Super Bowl every year. He was a man that when you say, Grandpa, how you doing? I'm rolling. But he was nothing but a card. He was nothing but money, birthdays, Christmas, etc. But at the end of his life, the last 5 years of his life, actually, he let me in so deep. Like, I was amazed. He took me to meet all of his friends. He told me everything about his business. I went in his house for the first time. Like, he died in 2011. So in those last 5 years was the first time I had ever went in my grandfather's house. Like, he just would drop off cards, and he had a restaurant. We would go to the restaurant, but I didn't get to see the inside of his house. And on the maternal side of my family, like, we got all kind of father lies, right, that are still running deep. Some are under rocks that I'm still lifting up. But in any way, the pain for me with future relationships, growing up without a father, man, sisters, women, any females listening, if you do not know who you are, I'm dealing with this right now with my grandchildren, my granddaughters. You think you know what love is. You think you want love. But if you do not love yourself to the point that you don't even need anybody else to love you, you are not ready for a relationship, honestly. Especially if you are under the age of 25. We just don't know. We think we know. And are there people, I have to always do these little things. Are there people, high school they meet, they stay married forever? Yes. I don't know if their stuff is all good, but if it ain't and y'all still together, you know, y'all knew something that some of us didn't, or you're stronger than some people and you stayed down and you endured. But for a fatherless child, there is some emptiness for men and women.
Absolutely.
That carry over into every relationship you have in life, and not just intimate relationships. You don't know how to deal with people at work. You don't know how to deal with people in the street. I've seen some men yelling in stores when the customer service is bad, and I'll be like, what? They not talking. They acting like their mama, because their mama been doing that all of their life, right? And their responses, you know, reflect that. So I'm going to put this one out there to y'all. What responsibilities do mothers and fathers actually have to their children?
Every responsibility.
What does that mean? Define it.
Caring for your children, making sure your children can grow up and be able to deal with adulthood, right? Because adulthood comes with a bunch of curves and dips and ups and downs and trips, and so being able to create a child that can deal with the adversities of life, right, and not stay down when they fall down, right? Mm-hmm. They're energetic, right? They're about creation and creating and living and understanding that the people next to them are also living a life. I try to get my son to understand this. You're working a job. He wants to work on airplanes. You're working a job where you're dealing with 30 other men working on an airplane. You don't know what those 30 other men are dealing with at home. You don't know what those 30 other men have been raised to deal with or raised to do in their life. So getting to know people is asking questions, right? And say, I'm not trying to dig. I just want to make sure if something fall off, that we're able to put it back up together.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how are you trying to raise your sons? For my daughters, I'm raising them to be honest first. Tell a man, listen, I'm talking to 2 other men right now. Like,
Right.
You look like somebody I can deal with. You feel me? But I don't know. You feel me? Or I have a friend, and it's a little sexual on that. And every now and then we can continue to build, because this is what I know, right? I've gone through life dealing with women one particular way. You lie to me one time, that's it. I don't trust you.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
I could love being with you. I could love being around you.
Right.
But one time you lie to me, I'm not going to trust you ever.
Yeah. It runs deep.
Because you don't have to lie.
Right.
And then people say, well, that's your trauma. It can be my trauma. It's also a warning sign. Everybody says everybody has a red flag. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, give me a choice. Don't make a decision on my behalf. Present it to me. Look, I need to be doing this, and that.
Please.
You either with it or you not. Give me a choice. Don't make the decision for me, because the end result ain't going to be good.
So just equip your children.
Yeah, equip them. I like it. Yeah. What you got?
I don't have too much other than that. But I'm just looking at your notes, and you say a mother should not prevent a safe, loving father from being involved. I agree. A father should remain consistent, communicate respectfully.
Right.
But then it says document his efforts, and that's funny to me. If he's there, he doesn't have to document anything. If he's showing up enough, he don't need to document. It's being documented. Just the children know. Right. They're documenting it.
Until somebody get mad.
And even when somebody gets mad, it don't last long. Like
that is true.
If I have to, if 18 years is long, then I've lived too long. You know what I mean? 18 years come and go like that. I've watched it happen with my children. Right, my babies. My daughter graduated Lincoln University. My other baby, 21. My son, 19. He about to turn 20. You feel me? My other daughter about to turn 22. Right, I got a 14-year-old after tomorrow.
You old, dude. You old.
I'm 46. I'm not that old. You feel me?
Yeah, he's not old at all.
I'm not old.
Speaking of Lincoln University,
right.
My triplets.
Right.
We just took them to Lincoln University Sunday. They all 3 enrolled at Lincoln University.
They freshmen?
Yes.
They all 3 freshmen.
Yes. Congratulations.
I went to Lincoln University 50 years ago. I'm 50 years older than them.
Wow.
And I didn't graduate, but I went for a couple of years.
Absolutely.
And then I started working for Pico.
Right.
But the fact that you have 3 that actually went at the same time.
And that's history for Lincoln University. They never had 3.
Never had triplets?
They never had 3 triplets enrolled at once.
Is that amazing?
Wow.
Yeah.
They need to do an article on them. Are they doing that? Is the paper doing an article on them? We could do. We gonna go up there and talk to the kids. You feel me? Triplets from Chester, going to Lincoln University.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Isn't it?
Congratulations.
Yeah,
congratulations.
You did great on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, congratulations.
We don't think about the road that we're paving for our children, right? And a lot of people don't really know what they're doing, right?
We're not conditioned like that,
and that's where we lose. We lose as a people because we're not conditioned like that, right? We're only worried about what we're doing for ourselves, and no, you're really paving a road for your kids, right? Everything you do as an adult is paving a road for your child to follow down. So once I realized, and I looked behind me because I was in the street, and I realized that my son was going to follow me into the street, I stopped.
Wow.
He was selling candy in school. Teacher called me. Mr. Bryce, I need you to come into the school. He's like, it's funny, but it's not. I said, what do you mean it's funny, but it's not? So your son was selling candy. Another young boy started selling candy. Your son and another son break in the boy's locker and steal his candy. Call my son. Right. Call my son. Right. I said, what are you doing? What happened with the candy? Nothing. I said, teacher called me and said they saw you on camera breaking somebody's locker and steal his candy. Why'd you steal his candy? Well, I heard you and Uncle Breon talking. Yeah, okay. I go to sleep that night. Worst dream I ever had was seeing my son in the casket. I can't do this. Like, I thought I had the strength to do this. I don't want my son doing what I'm doing. I don't want my son to ever think about doing any of the things that I've done on the street. So I have to stop. Along with a lot of other things, a lot of other decisions were coming to me, but I'm like, damn, I just got jumped at the RS Club. I got this patch on my eye. My son's in the school. He's selling candy, break up in somebody's locker. Yeah, I'm done. Right then and there. And it was hard. It was hard, right, to go from somebody that could get to $1, you feel me, to somebody that now got to figure out a way. I got to reinvent myself. I couldn't have my son following me. And I told him, I said, you don't only, listen, you can't. And when we have arguments, when we do fuss and fight, I know he's trying to talk to me. And I said, that's not the way we supposed to talk. You got an issue, you bring it to me. You say, Dad, I don't like this. Don't yell it at me. Because if you yell it at me, I'm going to yell it back at you. And then I'm going to move. And I was in the house. We was about to go at it. I said, bro, listen, I might not have ever hit you. But today, you 18.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Your mother will peel you off the ground. I'll take you to the hospital. It's no big deal. And if they got to lock me up, they can lock me up. But do not play with me and talk to me the way you're talking to me right now, because you're tripping. You are. So, you know, we had that conversation. We came back again. We had another conversation. And I had to understand that he was understanding himself. He was frustrated. He was mad. It wasn't working out the way he wanted it to work out, right? He probably always saw himself going to the NBA. But you ain't putting enough work for it. I told him that you ain't putting enough work for it. So if your game ain't where it's supposed to be, that's not my fault. That's your fault.
Why do I have to be blamed for it?
Because it was easy to blame me. Yeah. Because I was already being blamed. Yeah. Mom was already blaming me. Mom was already saying da, 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 da. Then when they see my mother pass away and then me and mom coming together, like, huh? I thought he wasn't. I thought he didn't. I thought he couldn't. But now it's like, oh my God. So he was confused. And I told her, I said, man, this is going to confuse the kids that we're cool in this area.
That's interesting.
The kids, they get, because if the parents are arguing, and we were arguing for years, my mom died in 2024. 2020 was the end of we didn't have no conversation from 2020 to 2024. So only conversation we had was through our kids.
So then you and mom come together and y'all cool. So now what's up with the children?
No, my kids are cool. But
they were cool before. But are they better now that you and mom are better?
I mean, they've learned to be. Okay. You feel me? Because you got to understand they were not manipulating the situation, but they had the opportunity to.
They were using it to their advantage.
Mom and dad. So literally, you could say, Dad, I need $50. Mom, I need $50. Mom not talking to me, so mom gonna give it up. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Dad not talking to mom. Well, what your mom say? You feel me? Because that's my kick. What your mom say? Well, she said to call you. All right. Well, and my foolishness, I will give him 100. You ask me for 50, I'm gonna give you 100 because I know you need more than 50. Now your mom gave you 50. Now you got $150. Then I get a call. The teacher talk about, oh yeah, your daughter was in school today with $150. Like, huh? Oh, so your mom gave you money. Okay, I get it. And I realize that and I see that now. So it's like, that's manipulation. But they're learning how to do that because the parents are teaching them. So you're sowing the road, whatever you're doing. Mom, dad, whatever you're doing, your children will follow behind you.
Yes.
The thing is, you don't know who they're going to try to trick with it.
Right.
And they could get hurt doing it.
Yeah. The legacy thing is big. I just we get that too late in life, and it's because we are not taught that. So, Scoop, what would you say to parents that have this tension and children are in between? What advice would you give them so that the children are protected, loved, and not in the adult chaos?
You have to be cordial towards each other. You can't be in front of your children, and they see you acting some type of way. They're going to carry that on, down the line, and they're going to repeat it. Mm-hmm. And it's not, a good situation for either parent as well,
Yeah, we have to learn to coexist even when the relationship does not survive, when there are children involved. And I just see us kind of struggling with that. I'm conscious of my time here, so I'm gonna. If y'all will remember previously, I have a nonprofit, Sowing Good Seeds. I'm an energy practitioner. I'm an advocate. I'm a supporter. I'm a lot of things. I'm a teacher. And
I concur.
thank you. Thank you. What I want to leave with you is living healthy is not optional. It is not optional. We have to do better with our health in order for us to have clear minds, healthy bodies, and pure hearts. It's a requirement for healing. Do I like hoagies? I love hoagies, but I know I have no business eating one. I love bread. I should not be eating it. I'm not saying everybody should be vegan, everybody should be vegetarian, but we have to understand the junk that we put in our body on a consistent basis. Like a donut should be a treat, not breakfast every day. That's why we have diabetes, hypertension, blindness, amputations, blood transfusions, cancer, etc. That's the bad news, right? We end up with all of that stuff. The good news is these bodies that we walk around with, most advanced technology on earth, comes equipped with everything you need to heal, to live, to breathe. The same way you take breath every day and take that for granted, assuming you're going to be able to inhale and exhale, and you don't even give it thoughts. Your body can regenerate every cell. It actually does regenerate every cell, like every 11 months. Every cell is new. What happens is the poison that we put in our bodies prevents some of those cells from regenerating. So what happens? High blood pressure, cancer. Cancer is a cell that has forgotten what to do, and it goes haywire. And until you create a pH balance, disease-free nesting ground by eating healthy food, you will start to expire. But you don't have to. I promise you, you don't have to. This is not LaNoana stuff. This is proven stuff. Pharmaceutical drugs have side effects that hurt us and cause us to need other medication. The same medication that's in the pharmaceutical drugs grow as a plant if used properly. Example, you don't need high blood pressure medication. You need to drink beet juice, carrot juice, green apples juice, ginger, basil. You can eat this stuff. You don't have to juice it. Juicing just makes it easier so you get enough of what you need. And there are other things in life that do that. Cancer is cured, healed. Soursop, dandelion root. And it goes on. You can look this stuff up for yourself. God put everything on earth that was needed for you to heal. But we have these mad scientists that create these drugs out of the plants that we have dominion over that heal our body. And they turn it into something that keeps you coming back to big pharma, that keeps you on dialysis, that keeps you in chemo, that causes you to get hip and knee replacements, etc. Y'all get the point. I just want to challenge you to challenge yourself to do something different and see if you feel different. Give up one thing that you love for 30 days. Give it up for a week and see what happens. I promise you, you will see a difference. Drink some water. Stop drinking sweet drinks. Your body is like 80% water. Every now and then you need to flush it out and replenish. Parasites is something we don't talk about in our community, but they are real. You need to clean out your gut. The foods that you eat, boy, your gut is just overflowing with parasites, and there's stuff out there just to clean it out. Just like a laxative, I promise you, you will feel better. So I just wanted to leave that with you to challenge you to do something healthy for yourself. Because if you are paying attention, we're living longer. But the bodies that will not be able to endure the 5G transition and all the other changes that are occurring on life, those bodies are going to stop functioning. And you have the opportunity to actually heal yourself so that you can be here longer. I'm planning to be here for like 200 more years. Honestly. Some of your grandparents are making it over 100. Next generations, they might live like people used to live longer. It's possible, but you got to take care of this body. And you can't do it next week. You can't do it tomorrow. You absolutely have to do it today. Educate yourself so that you can live. So back to the children that are used as weapons in being a fatherless child. I want to close us out with a piece that I wrote. So I have healed my life by journaling and writing. And this piece right here, which is entitled Fatherless Child, gave me my voice. Some people think I've always had a voice. I was a shy, want to be invisible woman, child, all of my life. This piece right here, I shared with someone who was doing something with fathers, and it turned into a 3-hour show where I shared all of me for the first time publicly. And this piece is the piece that I say gave me my voice. So I developed this piece because I was searching and I was empty and I was healing, and I recognized that not having a father had serious impact on me. And then I looked a little deeper and I realized the women in my family have come to accept not having fathers. Are you trying to get my attention for something? No. Not having fathers in their life was the norm. And my ancestors talked to me and they was like, child, you have been the one we have been waiting for, and you have to heal these generational curses. And I had no idea that I even had a father out there that I didn't know. Y'all heard the story. The father that my mother named was her boyfriend at the time when she got pregnant as a teenager. The fast forward on that is, in searching for my son's father that I didn't know because I was a promiscuous teen, I did DNA, and it led me to my biological father that I did not know existed. And 6 siblings and a large family in this city. And so this piece that I'm about to share with you, being a fatherless child, activated me in motion to actually find my father that I did not know existed. And before I share the piece, I just got to share. So he was a teenager. My mom was a teenager. He's like, oh, I know exactly where you were conceived. And, you know, he shares the story. And I'm like, oh, no wonder I was a promiscuous teen. Like, I didn't even have a choice with these parents that, like, DNA that I carry around, right? So anyway, I was sharing that I shared earlier that, you know, I had some great fathering in my life, but I still was empty, right? So this piece, even though I have found my father, is still relevant, and it's very important to my life because, once again, it gave me my voice. So, fatherless child. A fatherless child starts as a seed. A fatherless child loves and bleeds. A fatherless child breathes and sighs. And you might say, why is that important? Because as a fatherless child, you think you are nothing and you are the same as everyone else. You start as a seed, you bleed, you breathe, you love, and you sigh. But until you can heal through that, you think it's something wrong with you. So as a fatherless child, I was always finding myself in this creative space where I was mesmerized with, why am I a fatherless child? Where is my father? And then I realized you can be a fatherless child even when the father is in the house. Now, how is that, LaNoana? Because we have these fathers that are present in the house, but they might as well not be there. And then you have these fathers that are in the house, and the mothers and grandmothers are silencing them. And I know we all know a mother or a grandmother like that. Yeah, you can be here. I need you to be here, but you ain't doing and saying nothing. And then there are those fathers that are there, not even by their choice. I call them gangster families. Oh, you going to be here for my daughter, and you going to be here for my grandchild. And I don't care what you got going on. And they have no choice but to be there. Those children, when they go to bed at night, amongst that adult chaos, they are fatherless children with a father in the house. And yes, I'm deviating from the piece because I need to really make these points before I close out here. So, fatherless children can be traumatized, whether the father is there or absent, right? It's a real thing. And we are always trying to figure out why we ended up a fatherless child. And it gets deep. Like mine got deep. So, any fatherless children that are listening, I want you to just indulge me with this exercise. I want you to fill in the blank. I'm a fatherless child because of blank. What is the blank in your life, whether your father was there or not? As I was writing this piece, I'm looking at my situation, trying to figure out why I'm a fatherless child. So I said, is it because of promiscuity? Because my mom was a teenager? Was it because of cheating and you just couldn't identify a father? Was it because of adoption? Was it because of death? Or was it simply a mother's decision to make you a fatherless child? And so when I wrote this piece, I was a fatherless child because of promiscuity. After the DNA test, I learned that I was a fatherless child because of cheating. And then later, I learned that I was a fatherless child because my mother chose to make me a fatherless child. Because even though she named a dad, she also told my biological father later in life that I was his child and not to share that with anyone. I was a fatherless child. You are listening to Walking with LaNoana, and I just want to thank Cousin P, Uncle P, and Scoop Jizzle for having my back today when my intended guest was not available. Peace and love.